Let's invite the next panel here. We have our moderator, Don Wright from Water Rights, Dr. Anita Chaudhary from CSU Chico, Johnny Amero, Freund Water Authority, Cassie Chauhan, FID, and Crystal from Maxon.
You're not going to do the drawing right now? Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you. Excuse me. Thundwad Shi. I'm trying, guys. I definitely want to thank Archie. I want to thank Jasper. Where did he go? Jasper too. Both the Jaspers. Thank you for letting us be here. We heard from Amanda from the DWR, and I'm hoping that I've got some really good smart people here with me, and we're going to try and show what is it like when what floats downstream from Sacramento lands here. And I'm going to ask each of the panelists to introduce themselves, but first I need to tell you, this is not Johnny Amaral. This is Austin Ewell. Johnny couldn't be with us, so there's been a slight change in the program. But Austin, why don't you introduce yourself and start through and pass it on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Austin Ewell. Though Johnny Amaral is also a phenomenal human being, I'm glad to be here in this place. Thank you very much for having us. I'll give you a little bit of who I am and what we're working on. I serve as the executive director of an organization called the Water Blueprint of the San Joaquin Valley. And a number of the questions and comments that were raised in the previous panel, including the previous speaker, our organization was established to look at solutions for the San Joaquin Valley, and in particular focusing in on those issues and concerns faced by a lot of the white area growers, those areas that don't historically receive surface water or haven't been able to receive flood flows or other water resources in order to allow for recharge. And so our organization is looking at common sense solutions, looking at ways to potentially bring more water in excess times from the delta north to the south, and looking at additional opportunities to store water near the San Joaquin Valley so that water resources are available for you and for the essential agricultural production that you provide. And so we would welcome your involvement in the future and happy to provide additional information, and I'll pass on the mic to my wonderful colleagues.
Hello everyone, my name is Anita Chaudhary. So, Assalamu alaikum, Sat Sri Akal. Hello. I'm really grateful to the PAGG team for including me in this. I think Steve, when he was here a second ago, Steve Blumenshine, he mentioned, there you go, there he is. He mentioned our project, so I hope to talk to you a little bit more about our project, and I hope our students are here in the audience. I'm an economist. I'm really interested in understanding the agricultural economy of California and how water distribution affects it. And SGMA has been a big change. We've been hearing about this all day. So most of my research and teaching is about the water economics. So I hope to talk to you more about that and some of the research projects we're working on.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cassie Chauhan. I am 2 for 1. You get 2 when you get me because I'm the special project manager for Fresno Irrigation District, and I'm also the executive director of the North Kings Groundwater Sustainability Agency. Thank you so much for lunch. Thank you so much for being out here and hearing about all the exciting things that are happening. I really am going to spend a few minutes today talking to you about how SGMA impacts the local farmers, particularly within Fresno irrigation districts, boundary, and in the Fresno County white areas that we're responsible for in the North Kings GSA. So we have some resources, we have some programs that we're going to be talking about. So as we get into the discussion, I will share some information on that, as well as I have some materials with me if anyone is interested in getting some of those materials afterward. I'm happy to distribute those. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Crystal Tufenction, and I'm from McMullen Area Groundwater Sustainability Agency, and we are a total white area, so we have a lot to accomplish to bring our landowners to groundwater sustainability. that's what we're working on diligently. We're going to get into, as Cassie said, some more of that and the impacts, especially on the white areas and what that's, how that's affecting you. So look forward to the discussion.
Okay, thank you, everybody, and I really appreciate you, for myself, for being here. Thank you very much, Najee. So, I know that Austin is in a bit of a hurry. He's filling in at the last minute. Today is his wife's birthday, and for you married men know that for him to take time from that celebration. So, one of the solutions, and about myself right quick, I have been a reporter for more than 30 years, and I have been covering agricultural irrigation water in California for about the past 20, and for almost 10 years now, I've had my own publication called waterrights.net, which it's a free subscription. All you have to do is go to the website. I've been fortunate to work with PAGG some here on this. I've seen a lot of stuff come and go, but one of the things that I find the most exciting is the water blueprint for the San Joaquin Valley. And the reason I do is it's a solution. It's very easy to identify a problem, much more difficult to identify a solution. So I'd like you to talk to us a bit about what are the benefits of the blueprint? How can these good folks become involved?
Thank you, Don. I appreciate the very positive comments and the encouragement and your involvement. So the Water Blueprint for the San Joaquin Valley, as I'd mentioned, is a volunteer organization. A number of the individuals up here participate in it. We have organizations throughout the San Joaquin Valley, as well as organizations in Northern and Southern California. And simply put, we're looking at what viable solutions are there for the valley as a whole to reduce the impacts that we are seeing and will see with the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. As noted by the previous speaker, that law was passed in 2014 and has required comprehensive groundwater management for the first time in California's history. And in turn, that is causing, at this point, thousands and ultimately hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million acres of productive farmland in the San Joaquin Valley to be removed from regular production. Now, as you would imagine, that has a tremendous impact on the valley and its residents. And so our organization, which is made up of water agencies, water districts, grower groups, commodity groups, farm bureaus, academia, and others, are trying to focus in on two fundamental components, looking at storage and conveyance opportunities, as well as looking at modifications in the regulations that limit the amount of water that can move from north to south. And just, by way of simplicity, kind of the 70-30 rule. 70% of the water is in the north and 70% of the population is in the south. And so we need to be able to move water predominantly through the delta. And so there are opportunities like last year and this year where you have massive amounts of floodwater, excess water that could be moved to this portion of California and stored. And the most viable way of storing that water is in the ground. And so we're looking at projects and even partnerships, for instance, with Southern California, who moves water from north to south in the massive California aqueduct, and opportunities to move water in certain years, identify the ground in which it can be spread and stored, and then used in those drier years. And so just even last week, an MOU was signed with Metropolitan Water Agency, which represents the majority of Southern California for delivering water. And in that, we're looking at conveyance from east to west, which would allow those flood flows and excess water to be stored. And these are the solutions that we need to come together as Valley residents and propose to the state and the federal government who manage these massive water systems. The way that you can get involved is to participate either as an individual or participate through your farm organizations or participate in your GSAs or your water districts. And you can find information about the organization at www.waterblueprintca.com. And I welcome you taking the time to look at that, and feel free to reach out and get involved.
Yes. We also have some brochures back at the at my table, which is next to the yellow forklift there. Dr. Anita, would you talk a little bit about the work we've been doing on the WAVE study and your thoughts on this and how that also impacts the local grower?
Yes, thank you, Don, for that. Do I see Hermanweer and Harkabir in the audience here? Our students?
They're down in my booth.
They're not here.
Harmavir, Huckabir. Here they come, maybe. Here they come.
Do you see them? Oh, okay.
Hey, bring some blueprint stuff with you. And we also have blueprint stuff here. So please, we're happy to give it away.
So thank you, Don, for that. I think this is a great nudge for us. So a lot of these policies and discussions that happen, and I think just listening today, I've been here since morning, just listening to you guys exchange, just confirm what I've always observed, that when it comes to farming and agriculture, a lot of policies come from top down. And as an economist and a social scientist, I've always seen that there's not that much knowledge transferring from bottom up. So a huge motivation for us, Steve, Don, Paige, all of us to kind of start working on this research was, well, okay, so SGMA is coming down the pike. How is this policy even being perceived? How is it even, how much information is out there about this? How much engagement is out there with these ideas? Because as you heard everybody say, SGMA is about local water policy. Well, local cannot happen without engagement. And there are actual barriers to engagement. One of them is language, right? And there are procedures in place that kind of prevent farmers from showing up and participating. And remember, 2014 happens when SGMA gets passed, and then COVID happens, right? And you had to participate in those local meetings. And how is that going to happen? What is Zoom, right? So there are many, many barriers. So a huge impetus for us, our team at CSU Water, was to actually collect data on this. Start collecting scientifically based survey and interview data. So the one thing I want to share with you, and if Hermanweer and Harkabir have found their way.
They're here, yeah.
There they are.
They're over here.
There they are, all right.
They've been instrumental. Well, I'll let you tell. I'm very proud to know them.
We have a really great team, you all. So we're a CSU team. The good thing about a CSU research project is our students work with us like colleagues. So we launched a survey. Cassie and a lot of our local GSA managers were instrumental in talking to us and giving us some information. So we launched a survey of farmers in this area, trying to understand how is SGMA being implemented, how they're getting impacted. And what our students are distributing is these QR codes. We got the survey translated in Punjabi, Spanish, and English, and it's been up. And we would really like you, especially if you're in a white area, grower, to participate, because the questions in there, they're not meant to collect any personal information, any identifiable information, but there is a desperate need to understand how is the farming community experiencing the implementation of SGMA. So please scan the QR codes. It'll just take you 9 or 10 minutes to finish the survey, and it'll collect information from these 5 counties in the San Joaquin Valley about SGMA effects. So we are in the process of processing these. Hopefully today we'll get more responses, and putting that information together, Don, and putting it out there will form the basis that PAGG is trying to do, like getting more resources into the community, because those resources are going to build on availability of information from the community. So that's some of the work we've been doing.
Okay, and that is I think what's so vital about this. If you don't know what the problem is, if you don't know what you're dealing with, I mean, have you seen the new tax codes? They're crazy. And have you seen the new water law? Oh my God, it's crazy too. We have to know what we're dealing with. Can we take questions at the end? Okay. Cassie, I'm going to leave it up to you to it's what you want to talk about, but the thing that I find interesting about the North Kings, and full disclosure, I actually live in the North Kings. Groundwater sustain. Knocked out the horse. I'm not. There we go. I'm back on. Thank you. The thing I find that I'm happy about is our sub-basin, the Kings sub-basin, did not have to go into probation. And I'll tell you right now, a big part of it, you can blame her that we don't have the state board coming down telling us what to do, at least as much. And but Cassie, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Don. That's exactly right. The Kings Basin was approved by Department of Water Resources. So what does that mean? That means that we get to continue to implement our groundwater sustainability plan in coordination with Department of Water Resources, not the State Water Board. And that's really an important a milestone that we achieved. There's a lot of work still to be done, but that was the first milestone, is to get that approval and then continue with implementation of our plan. That is not true for most of the other basins south of here. So it also is a testament to all of the great work and the partnership that we have. In the Kings Basin, we have 7 groundwater sustainability agencies. Crystal and I represent 2 of those, and there are 5 others that span across the entire Kings Basin. It's really hard to get everybody to sit around the table and agree on anything, pretty much. But how to do groundwater sustainability, it's really, really challenging. So to have that distinction as being approved is really good. It's good for us as the managers, but it's really good for all of you who are growing and trying to continue your operations in light of Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. So there's really 2 things that you can do to achieve sustainability. One of them is reduce demand. So stop farming, stop take land out of production, all of those things that will result in a net water savings. The other thing you can do is increase supply. So we are really focused right now, not on the demand reduction piece so much, but in increasing the supply, trying to put as much water as we can into the underground in the years that we have really good water supply. So last year, 2023, everybody had a lot of water. It was a very good problem to have. We were able to put in the Kings Basin about 500,000 acre feet of water back into the underground in a single year. That's phenomenal, because that's the equivalent of a Millerton Lake. So if you've been up to Millerton Lake, you've seen the lake, that's 500,000 acre feet of water that entire lake holds. We were able to put it in the underground so that we have that for that dry year supply. So when we have to turn on the pumps, we can pull it from the underground and have water there to do that. So that's phenomenal. We're also working on some other projects which will increase the supply bucket. There's things like reoperating existing reservoirs. So I know that the gentleman up here talked about needing more dams. More dams in California is really, really hard. It's very problematic because of the environmental sensitivities. For one reason, the cost, the land that's needed, all of those things are very, very challenging. But what seems more realistic is to look at the existing dams that we have up and down the state of California, including here in the local area, and make improvements to those facilities so that we can hold more water. Because we need to be able to hold more water in those really, really wet years so that we can save it and bring it into the system and be able to use it when it becomes dry again. So a lot of effort on that. And then I just want to mention, like, what can you do? Like, these are all things that are happening at the agency level, but you individually on your individual farms, what changes can you be making so that you're set up to be successful along into the future in light of the changes that are happening because of Sustainable Groundwater Management Act? One of them is we are asking everyone within the North Kings GSA boundary to register your wells. That means tell us where the wells are located so that we have a good accounting of all the wells within the GSA boundary. That's really, really important because it's very difficult to manage What you don't know is out there, and what you don't know is taking water from the aquifer. Really, really important. We have a very simple online form. You can go there. If you have any trouble, if you need translation, we've been very intentional about making sure our documents are translated into Hmong, Spanish, and Punjabi. So we want to provide those resources to you. So it's a simple registration form where lat and longitude from your phone, you can get a location, put the information in, and then a few simple questions. Really, really important. The other thing, before I turn it over to my friend Crystal here, is we have some priority funding, and I'm so thankful that I saw my friends from USDA and NRCS and WaterSmart here, because we have some funding available to help you start making these changes on your farm, and that's through the NRCS program. And just within FID, we have $1.3 million to do things like put a meter on your well, do soil moisture sensors, do cover crops, do on-site reservoirs within your property so that you can capture more water even just on your individual farm. So if you're interested in that, I definitely encourage you to sign up for our email list. You can do that at fresnoirrigation.com, or you can also sign up for the North Kings, which is northkingsgsa.com, and sign up to receive those emails so that you get that information up front and you know when those programs are available. It's really, really important to start making those changes now and not wait until the very end to try to start making those changes, because my thought is that if we were to have had another dry year, so we got 2023 and it was really, really wet, but if it was going to be another dry year, we would be in a very different situation. So we've got to stay ready so that we don't have to get ready, and then we can implement those changes as the groundwater conditions are fluctuating, and we know when we have to make that change. So 2 things: register your well, start looking at putting a meter on your well, and we have funding and programs available to help you do both of those things. So I will stop there, and if there's more time after, I can share some more.
Thank you. Now this next lady, I love all these folks up here, but I've had, I probably shouldn't say this, but I've had a crystal crush for about 30 years. I've known her quite a while, and I have seen her, she was formerly with the Kings River Conservation District, and I have seen her do some fantastic work with them. I think she's doing a tremendous job with the McMullen area GSA. Now that's over by Kerman. I know I've heard rumors there's a few Punjabis in that neck of the woods, Carruthers and what. So you have one of these projects going in, and anything else you'd like to tell us about?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say my husband's here, so...
Oh, he knows I've had a crystal crush.
Anyway, I really wanted to start out by saying I'm passionate about the ag industry, and I want to tell you that because there's a reason for that related to SGMA. You know the impacts that we're having with SGMA for our landowners. There's the financial impacts, especially for my landowners in the white areas. We have seen land values drop. We know that banks are asking for two sources of water and an irrigation district. We don't have either one of those. So it's difficult to get loans. You're also paying my agency and other groundwater sustainability agencies assessments. So that's another financial impact. You're having operational impacts. Are we gonna have you stop pumping so much water? So what's that mean? Do I plant 100 acres or do I plant 90 acres and keep some back just in case I can't water or irrigate with just groundwater? So, and we also know that it's a time sink. You have to come to meetings. You have to learn about this. You have to understand it to really make it beneficial towards you. But now we're learning about the impact, about how. How is this going to be implemented? We have talked when we started forming these agencies. We came out to our landowners and we said, okay, local control, local control. That's what you want because the state can come in. And sure enough, now we know. The state has come in, as you probably are familiar with. The Tulare Lake Subbasin is now being managed by the state. They're down in the Hanford, Corcoran, Lemoore area. And we know what that looks like. We're beginning to see what that looks like. What it looks like is all those wells where we're voluntarily asking you to register, they have to register. Then they have to register with the state. They don't register with us. So that information is up at the state. And then by July, they have to have a meter or some way to measure their water and then tell the state, this is how much you're pumping. So that is, in addition to that, and including the assessment that you're paying us to help you manage this issue, they're going to pay $300 per well, pay $20 per acre foot pumped. We don't know what's going to continue. This is just the beginning. So we'll know over the next few months and year what it means to be run by the state. So when I say I have a passion about agriculture, I'm your local representative. Cassie's your local representative. We live in your communities. My husband's a farmer. We want to be a part of this because we care about it. When we look at making the groundwater sustainable, we have the goal of putting our landowners in the first equation. The state has the same goal. They want to make groundwater sustainable. Their equation is first groundwater sustainability, and then whatever comes after that. So I just wanted to start out to say local control, and you're fortunate if you're in Madera, in the Westlands Water District, in the King Subbasin. Right now, your local agencies, your people in the community who care, are trying to help you deal with this. So you asked about projects. We are, as I said, we're all white area. We have no surface water. We're not as blessed. But we do want to always first look at the supply side. So we do have a couple projects that we've been working on. We had a project in our area by one of our landowners, Don Cameron. He has a Terra Nova Ranch, and he's a real leader in on-farm recharge. We want to expand that in our GSA so that we can have more of our growers do that when we get the floodwaters. Last year, he was able to take 19,000 acre feet and get it back into our groundwater. That's for the whole basin. That's not just for us. When we put that water in, it benefits the whole basin in that region. You know, we would like to think we could get us sustainable sooner than 2040 by projects like that. We also have a water bank. It's a much bigger project. We're very excited about that. That's where we would bring water in from Northern California or Southern California, metropolitan water agencies. Those folks have contract water. There's years when they have lots of extra water, they have no place to put it. We'd like to bank it here in this area, and then they would take the water out when they want it. They would leave behind a percentage of that water. So again, it starts building up that groundwater supply. We have done registration. Almost, I would say 90% of our wells are registered. We did that about 2 years ago. Now we're working on meters. And we're requiring meters, but we did get funding from the federal government, so we're doing a rebate on that. Meters and telemetry, because we, as Cassie says, you can't manage what you can't measure. And we particularly need to measure ours because we are given the largest overdraft to solve in the King Subbasin. We have 3/4 of the overdraft that we have to solve for that entire basin. So we have to be really smart about how we manage our water. I'll finish there because I know you probably have some questions.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end of the time, and it's been a good productive day, and we're going to go to a question out here. But first, I received some comments from Jasper that somebody sent them about let the state do its job first before you start punishing the farmers. Amen, brothers and sisters, but that's not how it works. So this is why we're going to have to take measures like the blueprint, like the water banking, like the studies that Dr. Nita is engaging in. But we're all going to work together on it, or it's not going to work for any of us. We've heard that. United you stand, divided you fall. I have I'm going to promote myself right quick here, and then we'll do a question, and then we'll wrap it up. I have a website. You get on that website, you can get a free subscription to Water Reports. I invite all of you to contact me anytime. I don't know very much, but I know a lot of people who do, and I think we've made that evident just looking at the stage. I've got some good contacts. I love the Punjabi community. I love working with PAGG, and we want to have a better connection with all of you. All of us do. And I just want to make sure that's clear. Do we have time for some questions from the audience? Oh, it's www.waterrights.net. That's my last name, WRIGHTS. Waterrights.net. And all these other guys too, you want to do what they say. So we got Is there another question besides myself promoting? No, I didn't plant that one. No, thank you. Yeah? Okay. God bless you all. Thank you.
The question is,
Oh.
where's the water bank going in the Kirkland?
Okay.
And how far are we at?
Okay, so the water bank is really pretty much located, if you know the Raisin City area, there's a big cone of depression down there because we've done a lot of pumping with no surface water. We have about over 1 million acres, probably 1.8 million acres of storage underneath there. And not only that, the water bank is a combination of basins where we have the sandiest soils, which is on our eastern edge of our service area, which is just west of Kerman, and it goes out to Westland, so that's a border, Mendota Pool. But so we'll have a lot of our recharge basins there. We'll incorporate on-farm recharge that would also sink water. So it's a canal system that is 84 miles of canals that would cover our entire McMullen area service area.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Don. Recognition present for you guys. Hope you guys like it. They're bringing the water. That's why we can do this. We can make a trade. How about that? Oh, you like that?
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Specialist with the Department of Water Resources. I brought with me today Chris Olvera. He is an engineering geologist. I also act as a regional coordinator, and we are located in the South Central Region office, which is in Fresno. So our role with SGMA is to communicate and engage with the local agencies and the public. So we do things like this presentation. So my role as a regional coordinator is actually a neutral party, and I primarily provide planning and technical support. So we do a lot of work with local agencies in our region. So this presentation is going to provide a very high level, very brief overview of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. You've heard that called SGMA, and then what the department does to support our local agencies. And then we brought some brochures. Actually, there are some brochures available in English and in Punjabi for more information on the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act. So if you want more information, we did bring some along with us. California entered into a new era of groundwater management with the passage of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, in 2014. So the goal of SGMA is to ensure that our most important groundwater basins achieve a balance between use and recharge to avoid adverse impacts on our communities. So the foundation of the packages of bills that make up SGMA is that groundwater management in California is best done locally. So it's done through what we call groundwater sustainability agencies. We call those GSAs. And the implementation of a groundwater sustainability plan, you might have heard it be called GSP. So over 260 new government agencies were formed in 2017. So the department is actively working with these new government agencies to ensure successful implementation of SGMA. And SGMA also granted powers and authorities to these new agencies in order to implement their plans. So to start, there needs to be groundwater for SGMA to apply. So there are 515 groundwater basins that's shown on the first slide. Those basins are shaded in a light blue. And basin priority determines which provisions of SGMA apply in a basin. In addition, the department also considers the health of a basin. So we've identified some basins as critically overdrafted basins. So SGMA applies to all basins. However, those that are high and medium priority have specific parts of SGMA that are required. So those that are high and medium priority had to have a groundwater sustainability agency formed and then be managed through a locally developed groundwater sustainability plan or an alternative to a groundwater sustainability plan. So of the 515 groundwater basins, there are 21 critically overdrafted basins. These are shown on the last figure on the slide in the red hatch. So more than 62% of the groundwater is pumped in just these 21 basins. So if you think about it, more than half of our groundwater is used just in these 21 basins. The other 94 high and medium priority basins are shown in the middle slide, shaded in the yellow and orange, and they account for around 90% of the state's groundwater use. So So groundwater sustainability agencies have been formed, groundwater sustainability plans have been adopted and submitted in all high and medium priority basins. The groundwater sustainability agencies have to submit annual reports, and then approved plans have to be periodically evaluated by the department and the groundwater sustainability agencies at least every 5 years. And then the groundwater sustainability agencies have 20 years to achieve the sustainability goal in their groundwater sustainability plan. And if any of these requirements are met, the state can intervene. So SGMA entrusted local groundwater sustainability agencies to improve groundwater management through the new authority and local control that they gained. So these new agencies that were formed had to have either a water or a land use authority. So they could be made up of local agencies like a water district or an irrigation district. They could be a city or a county. They can be a combination of agencies. And each GSA has a very unique governance structure. So the groundwater sustainability agencies were provided with those powers and authority. So they have the ability to do things like register groundwater wells, mandate extraction reports from individual wells, regulate groundwater extraction, and even fallow lands. And the GSAs have a local fee authority in order to fund their activities under SGMA. So what's really unique is that there are 2 state agencies that were tasked with implementation of this legislation. So we have my department, Department of Water Resources, and we also have the State Water Resource Control Board. So they are 2 very different agencies. We have different missions. We have a different organizational structure. We just have a different way of doing business, and we have different things that we try to do. So in our department, we primarily provide technical assistance, but we also have a little regulatory role under SGMA. But the enforcement agency is the State Water Resources Control Board. So the department was tasked with developing and adopting the Groundwater Sustainability Plan regulations and to provide GSP guidance. And then the department was tasked with evaluating the groundwater sustainability plans for substantial compliance to the regulations, and we have to do this within 2 years of receiving a plan. So the groundwater sustainability plan, as actually described in the regulations, everything that goes into a plan has to be done. It's in Article 5, so if you want to know exactly what goes into a plan, I recommend that you go to the regulations and look at Article 5. But I like to use this kind of figure to describe what you should expect to see in a groundwater sustainability plan. So you should expect to see very detailed administrative information as to who is going to be implementing the plan. It'll describe the basin setting and the groundwater conditions in the basin. And then the key to sustainable groundwater management is to avoid 6 sustainability indicators. They'll be addressed within the GSP, and they're known as the sustainable management criteria. So they'll be discussing where there's potential for undesirable results for each sustainability indicator, and then provide a monitoring network in order to monitor to avoid these undesirable results. And then they're going to describe how these agencies are going to work towards sustainability by developing projects and management actions. And these can include things like groundwater recharge, alternative water supply projects, demand management, and then reducing groundwater use through allocations or even water trading programs. So we have 101 basins that are being managed under a groundwater sustainability plan or an alternative to a groundwater sustainability plan. We also have 30 adjudicated basins. So these 131 basins are being managed and submitting annual reports every April 1st. And there are this accounts for around 98% of the groundwater use across the state. So as of today, we have received 120 groundwater sustainability plans. We've actually gotten 8 groundwater sustainability plans from low and very low priority basins. These basins voluntarily did a groundwater management plan, or a groundwater sustainability plan. And then we got 47 groundwater sustainability plans from clearly overdrafted basins, and then 65 from all other high and medium priority basins. And then we have 9 approved alternatives, and they actually had to do their 5-year periodic evaluation. So we've received that. So we are currently reviewing the alternative periodic evaluations and then looking at the low, very low groundwater sustainability plans. And so what we're going to find is that we're going to evaluate this, and they're going to be one of three determinations. It's either going to be an approved plan with recommended corrective actions, an incomplete plan with required corrective actions, or an inadequate plan. So to date, we have 71 approved plans. These are shown on the figure. They're shaded in a green shade. And then we have 13 basins that are actually going through the incomplete process. They have 180 days to address the required corrective actions. These are shaded purple on the slide. And then we have 6 basins that were determined to be inadequate, and they are currently going through the State Water Resource Control Board for enforcement. We have 1 basin that's been put on probation so far. These are shaded in a light blue on the figure. But regardless of how these are determined, agencies should be continuing to implement their plan because they still have to achieve their sustainability goal within that 20 years. So that timeline, regardless of the determination, that timeline is not going to change. So they should be continuing to fill data gaps and improve the understanding of their basin, and those approved plans are going to be doing the periodic 5-year evaluations. So the SGMA portal is a depository for all the information that the department is required to receive from groundwater sustainability agencies. And this is the place where the public can go to get all the information. This is where you could go if you're not sure what basin you're in or what groundwater sustainability agency you have. You can go here to find that. At the top menu, there's the GSA. There's a pull down that comes down, and you can see a GSA map viewer, and you address into the map, and it'll point you right to your basin and provide your GSA. This is also where the groundwater sustainability plans are posted, where the alternatives are posted, where the annual reports are provided, and then the groundwater sustainability plans, and then where the periodic 5-year evaluations are going to be. So I also want to mention that the department receives public comment on all of those. So if there's something you want to share with the department, concerns, successes, you can provide that on the SGMA portal. We actually consider every single public comment we receive in our review of all those documents. So in addition to planning and technical support, our agency provides financial support. So we are actually providing support through the underrepresented community and small farmer technical assistance program. I thought you guys might be interested in this one. It identifies the needs, risks, and vulnerabilities of these communities with respect to SGMA implementation. And we are actually taking comments on the definition of a small farm. So if you want, there's a QR code there. You can click that. It will take you to a survey. We're taking the comments through June 30 on the definition of a small farm. And then we also provided a handout of that in Punjabi and English. So there's various ways to receive information from the department. Our website's the best place to go if you're looking for information. But we also have an email listserv that sends out periodic updates. We provide event notices and a lot of the information on our findings and results. Okay, I can take any questions.
Hi, Sabhaji Singh, got a question.
My question is, since all the government and you guys have the information about what kind of soil we have, what kind of water we have, and you guys are enforcing the farmers, or you have to do the well test, you cannot pull the water like that, when you guys are dumping a lot of water in the ocean, not controlling the water. In a 2 year, we don't have a drought. You guys made a drought that by not controlling the water, not having enough ponding basins, not having enough dams or these kind of sources. So don't post us too many rules and regulations when this is a government job to find out where the level is. And individual people check the well water level, check the well water. This is a government job. They need to check it. That's why we have a government.
Thank you.
So we're just a planning agency. So before SGMA, we didn't have any regulatory role. We only had safety of dams. So our agency is in a unique position because we didn't have a regulatory role before SGMA. So we pretty much are, our agency, we have the Oroville Dam, we have the State Water Project, we have many water projects. We send water all the way down to Southern California. So kind of get to that question, what our agency is doing to try to help the local agencies, because the local agencies, I hope you guys understand, the groundwater sustainability agencies, they are the ones with the power and authority to regulate groundwater. The state, the Department of Water Resources did not. The State Water Resource Control Board can, if a basin is put on probation, if they choose so. So they're in the process of doing that with those 6 inadequate basins. The big thing here to say, I think, is that the state has, as that second slide I showed you, limited surface water storage. Our greatest advantage in the state is our groundwater in storage. If we can store in the ground, that's the best place to put our water right now. And so one of the things the department is doing is providing financial assistance and support, and we've been doing this the last few years, to allow agencies to create permanent groundwater recharge basins. And so we're capturing the flood flow as it's coming down, because we don't have enough storage to capture all our flood flows in years that are very wet. In normal years like now, our basins are at capacity, we're able to provide the water that we can that's there now. But in years when it's very wet and there's just water pretty much everywhere, what we're trying to do is encourage local agencies to take the flood water and recharge the ground. And we're providing financial assistance for them to be able to do that. So our agency, that's pretty much what we're limited to be providing.
Amanda, thank you very much. And we don't have any more questions, but I gotta just want to comment. I want to just say, you gotta take my message with you when you go to Sacramento. Sacramento needs to change the policies and procedures, because I'm in the white area. That's my comment. Because it's no drought right now. We got a bunch of water just going through the drain right now. And we just wasting the water right now. They don't have no system to control the water. We need a dam, increase the dam level, because the Shasta Lake Dam is supposed to go up another 42 feet. They built in 1942. Nobody take care of that. We have a lot of comment to say that, but we just want to give you the message. Hope you take the message to the Sacramento. They need to work with us and not to force us. We already are going to all bankrupt all these farmers. But thank you for your time. Welcome to you here. You listen to us, and thanks enough. I just wish you. Go ahead.